Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Untitled. Today is the 15th of August 2018. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday morning session where we're going to have a look at a few instruments. And before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute any invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, and also just a very quick reminder of our JFD Brokers website, and specifically our JFD research page, where you can go in and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis. So yeah, feel free to check us out, and I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff here for yourselves. Okay, but for now, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on is the DAX. Now, DAX is a mess here. As you can see, we're still moving within this formation here. I mean, I want to kind of call it a symmetrical triangle, but to be honest, because we have a kind of huge space here and a bit of a space here as well, so let's just stick probably to the downside resistance line and this upside support line. So as you can see, the index is stuck here between these two lines, and yesterday it managed to test this upside support line here that has been running here since around the 26th of March this year. So certainly, as you can see by the arrows, for now and until this line is broken and we see a good close below this, until we get something like that, we're still going to stick to the upside. We're going to probably aim for a rebound here and a potential move higher. So for now, like I said, keep a close eye on it, be very cautious. As you can see, the index has tested the 12,300 level, and of course this is kind of playing out as a nice strong area of support. So for now, like I said, keep a close eye on it because we could potentially see a rebound from here and then a move higher. But to be honest, for us to become more comfortable with the upside, we would need to see a nice good break above this level right here. Let me just quickly highlight that for you. Let me just make it smaller a little bit. There we go. That's the level. So the 12,470 could potentially, a break of that level could potentially open the path back towards these key areas that we saw in the beginning of August. So certainly for now, keep a close eye on this upside support line. If it suddenly breaks and we get a close below this, now this could turn out to be ugly for the DAX, and the DAX could probably continue traveling lower here, maybe even aiming for this 12,100 level or even the psychological 1200. Now certainly, excuse me for my voice, certainly until, like I said, until we see that break and a close below this upside support line, we're still going to stick to the upside. But to be honest, we're going to be somewhat more bullish than and we're going to be just very carefully bullish, let's say like that. But if we do get a nice break above this and close above this 12,470, then yep, we could start positioning ourselves for higher levels again. Let's jump into a few commodities, and the first one I want to look at gold, and gold is continuing to move south. And certainly the question here is, are we going to hit this level here? I was talking about gold in my previous videos this week, and I was talking about the 1180 level to keep an eye on. Now the 1180 has been a very nice good area of support here around the 26th of January last year. So keep a close eye on it. Like I said, we're not far from it. We're just about $6-7 bucks away from that level, from hitting that level. Certainly the question here is, are we going to do that or not? If suddenly this reverses back up here, for us to start maybe looking for some higher levels, we would need to see a nice good move back above the 1195. Even if we get that, still we're going to be very cautious. But for us to, let's say, go long on this one in the slightly longer term, from the slightly longer term perspective, we would need to see a nice good close above the 1215 level, and this is where we could start positioning ourselves for the 1237, 1235 area, 1237. Yep. So or even actually this a possible test of this upside support line here that has been running here for quite a while, and that was since around December 2015. So this long-term upside support line could get tested as well if we continue pushing higher away from the 1215 level that I was just talking about. So but for now, judging by this picture, I mean, it wants to continue south, and it seems that it wants to continue pushing towards this 1180. So 1180 is our next potential target on the downside. And if we do get to this point, to be honest, we're just gonna have to look at it again and reevaluate this whole situation. Looking at the WTI, the WTI is now here, well, it's a bit of a mess here as well, and it's trading here. Initially move above this key area here that I was watching, the 67.15. It moved higher, closed above it, but then decided to move back down again yesterday, and certainly we're now stuck here between the 66.30 and the 67.15 level. We do have some information coming out later today during the before the US opening bell, and that's the crude oil inventories, the US crude oil inventories. So keep an eye on that one. Certainly, like I said, could play out, could affect this this commodity. So something for you guys to keep an eye on. And like I said, keep a close eye on this level here in the 66.30. If we do get a break here and a close below this, then well, it could continue dropping here, and the target that we've got here on the lower side is this 200 EMA, which also coincides with the 64.25 level, approximately there. So for now, like I said, guys, keep a close eye on it, and be very careful with this one. Looking at a few pairs now, so the Aussie dollar, that's one of them. We're gonna have a look at that one, and at the moment, yep, I mean, it's just continues to move south, and as you can see, last week we broke this key area of support here, which was also the lower side of the range that the pair was trading in. So for now, we're going to still aim for lower levels, especially for this 0.7165. At some point in time, we could get a bit of a correction, but let's jump into a 4-hour chart on this one. So we could possibly get a bit of a correction back to the upside here, but to be honest, the upside could get short-lived, and we could see maybe a rejection here around this area, around the 0.7260, from which the pair could reverse and move lower again. So we could basically get a scenario of something like this. So we could see a move back up here towards this 0.7260, and then if we get a rejection, then we could travel down again. For now, certainly keep a close eye on this one. If we suddenly get a break above the 0.7260 and the pair stay and closes above this, then well, there is a possibility of moving higher to touch the lower side of the range here, that at around 0.7315 level. Now it could be a possible move here, but only if we get a nice break and a close above this 0.7260 level. So for now, keep a close eye on it. Keep a close eye on today's trading activity. Let's see what it wants to do with what it wants to do in general. But for now, like I said, we're still more bearish than bullish on this pair. Looking at GBPUSD now. So GBPUSD, of course, getting well, continues to move lower. Yesterday I was talking about this one. We saw this nice rejection here at around this lower bound of the falling channel. and it broke this key area of support at around 127.30 and is now currently trading below this. So the big question here is, of course, are we gonna see a further decline here, again a move lower? Certainly at some point this pair would need to correct, and we could see a bit of correction to the upside, but to be honest, it's very difficult right now just to kind of, let's say, to become at least a little bit more bullish on this pair, because it's just the British pound is very weak and it just continues to move lower. Today we do have the UK CPIs coming out, so we might see a bit of activity here today, so be very careful. We might see maybe a spike to one of the sides, so we could see a bit of volatility kicking in, so be very careful with this one. For us to become more bullish on this pair, we would need to see a nice good move back inside this falling channel, and we would need to see a nice good close above the lower bound of the falling channel here, and this way we could start aiming for higher levels. But for now, certainly until we're stuck here, we're still going to be more bearish than bullish on this pair. Let's jump into one more pair quickly, and that's going to be the last one for this session, and that's USDJPY. Now USDJPY at a very interesting spot here. So I was talking about this one in one of my previous videos a while ago, and as you can see, basically it found its good resistance here at this line, at this upwards moving support line that has been running for quite a while. You might call it a bit of a tentative one, to be honest, because we're missing out this low here, but we're actually touching these two lows here. So it found its good resistance here around this level, around this area, and you can see now we're getting a bit of weakness coming in, and certainly the big question here is this going to continue to hold, or are we actually going to get a nice push here above this upwards moving support line? And if we do, and if we get a close above this, then, well, I mean, probably is going to be a good feast for the bulls, and the bulls might try to push this pair even higher, maybe even towards this 112.15 level, last seen as the high of the 1st of August. This could be a nice good potential area for resistance, initial resistance of course, but if this continues to hold, if this upside support line continues to hold, we might see something like this happening here. We might well, we could see this rejection still happening, and if that's the case, then we could potentially move a bit lower. Certainly for us to, let's say, looking from the very short-term perspective, a nice good break here below this 111.100 level, approximately there, could be a good indication of this pair willingness to move lower. So sorry, excuse me for my voice. So keep a close eye on the short term, keep a close eye on this 111.100. Let's see if it breaks it, and if it does, then yep, I mean, we could see maybe a further decline here towards this downside resistance line, this very short term downwards resistance line that got broken, and we could eventually test it from above again. So for now, all eyes are on this little level right here, the 111.100, and of course this slightly, well, we'll call it medium term upside support line, and if the pair gets back above it and closes above it, then this could be interesting for the bulls. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you found it useful, and if you want to join me later on at my traders tea time, and that's 13:15 GMT, 14:15 British summer time. But for now, thank you very much, and bye bye.